All right, so first thing you want to do is open the hood, of course. Once you get it open, you want to go ahead and take this cover off so you can locate the purge valve canister. So what you want to do is just pull this straight up. It's going to be on there kind of tight, so make sure you just use a little bit of strength. It's connected to these points right here. It's 4 of them when you put it back on. So you just go ahead, sit it down. Now this motor has 2 different locations, but today we working on the 4-cylinder, so I'm gonna show you. Try to make sure I get some good light. All right, so to find it is easy. So you just look for the vacuum line right here and just trace it all the way down. So we going all the way up under the air box, and it's actually right here. So it's this piece right here with the green tab on it and the blue strip right there. Now we just got to go ahead and get it off. So first thing we got to do is move the air box out the way so you can get your hand down there. You're going to need some simple tools. You're going to need a pick. If you don't have it, just use a regular flathead screwdriver. And that's about it. You can get to it with just those 2 things. So let's do it right now. You actually do need a deep 13, so you could take these screws off right here. So you got one right here, you got one right here. Well, actually, you just take this one off right here, and you can just loosen this up in the back, and then pull this off. So that way you can get to the piece down here. So just use your 13 for drill. Really don't have to do it, but it just make it easier to get to that connector to disconnect it. Your flathead. Then before you pull it off, make sure you disconnect these pieces here. So the white one you just push down and pull it out. Then the yellow one, you push down on the tab, push in, then pull out real quick. So you push down, pull this yellow piece out, and then just pull it. So this is the vacuum line right here. Be careful not to pull this off or break it or pinch it. So just lift this up slightly and just lift it over the air box just a little bit. You can go ahead and reach your hand down here to disconnect the connector right here, which is right here and right here, the green tab. All right, so it's a hard angle for me to get the camera in there, but basically what you do is to disconnect the wiring harness, you turn it, and it's a tab right here. You just press down and pull out. And then right here for the connector, you can lift it up underneath on both sides. It's like a little tab right there. A safety tab on the back. You got to lift it up on both sides and then pull up right here at the top. Then once that tab is off, you can pull this hose back and unlock it. So I got to do it. I can't show you. Okay, so I got it disconnected. So basically, this one right here was super easy. You just press down on that tab right there, and then just pull it off. But this one right here, as you can see, it got the 2 safety tabs on the side. So what I did was take on the back end, just press it up, and then I used the pick, or you could use your flathead at the very top to pry it up at the same time while I was lifting up the 2 safety tabs on the back. So this one right here might take you a little bit of time, but you can get it off. So once we got that off, just trace it all the way down, and as you can see, it branches off all the way up here. These 2 we already disconnected because it went to the air box right here, so we already got those disconnected. Now just follow it all the way down, and you got 2 more all the way down here. See if you can see it. There is one right there. And if you follow all the way down, it's another one right there, that yellow one down there. So those are the last two. So this one right here, the white one, and then the yellow one at the very bottom. So with those two, it's basically the same thing. Just press down on the white one and you can pull it out. And the yellow one, it's the same thing. You got to press down, but also lift up on the safety tab on the top to release it. Now I'm not gonna be able to show you actually how to get it off because I can't get the camera down there and my hand at the same time. It's kind of a tight spot, but you can see the locations right here for both. Repeat the same process that you did to take these two off for down here. Okay, so once you got it off, you can really just pull it right up. It's going to get caught up on the AC hose, but you just gonna have to move it around. But this is what it looks like when it come out. Now the bottom two, I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be a little bit challenging getting to these. This one right here and this one down here, just because it's a super tight spot. You run into the AC lines and the coolant hose right here. And if your car anything like this one, you see this hose right here, got the clamp on there. That boy most definitely in the way, it's gonna be hitting your hand. Now with the white one, the one up top is very similar. You press in on both sides. So that's the top and that's the bottom. You squeeze it and you pull it out. Now this one, if your hand is small, you can get in there. But if it's pretty big or above average or whatever you want to say, it's going to be hard to get in there because it's a tight spot. So it's going to be hard to squeeze at the bottom and at the top at the same time, because you got to pinch down on it just like this and pull it out. And then the yellow one at the very bottom, you see you got to lift up the back two tabs and then pull up right here. So lift up on these two tabs right here and pull up right here. So that's going to be a challenge as well, just because of the spot is super tight. But this is the old one. Now I'm going to show you the new one. And if you got a V6, stay tuned for later in the video. I'll show you the location for yours on the V6. Right now we're working on the 4-cylinder. Alright, so this is the brand new one. Here's the part number for you. If you want to check it out, it'll be linked down below too, to make it a hassle-free purchase. Now you see is exactly the same. Only thing different about this one, it came with a bracket, but you could take that on and off if you want to. So basically, to put the new one in, you're doing exactly what you just did, taking out the old one. So it goes like this, but make sure when you put it in, you go up under these AC lines, you go up under the coolant lines to make sure it's set in place the right way, so that way it's not rubbing up against nothing, it's not getting too hot, anything. So it goes just like this. These two connect up here to the air box. These two down here connect to the bottom side of the motor in the front. And then of course, you know, this one connects to the green tab. So to make this easier, I'm gonna start with the ones at the bottom. Just get those out the way, because it's gonna be probably the most challenging part. And you need to move them around up under the AC and the coolant lines. So basically you just press it down right there, move this AC line out the way. Now you're gonna have to get it up under the coolant hose as well. Then take that white one and do the same thing. So once you press it down right there, set the other pieces in place. So those two up there, and this one actually comes around just like that. And then now at this point, only thing you have to do is connect them. As you can see, they go down there, and you already know where these go. So I'm gonna do these down here, and then I'll show you how to do these up here. Okay, so I got them connected down there. I'm not gonna lie, it's very difficult to get this one on right here. So basically what I had to do, see these locking tabs right here? Just go ahead and set them in place. So get it over this hump here. Take your flathead, stick it in here, and just pry it up over this mark right here. You gotta do it on both sides. You gotta do it on both sides. This mark right here. So lift the tab up and sit it right here. Okay, so when you do it, it's gonna look like this. See the difference? It's sitting right there on the side of that marker. On both sides. You see it's sitting on the side just like that. So basically what you did was pretty much you just pre-locked it. So it's already set in place. It's ready to just spring in place and lock. But don't press it all the way down. But the tricky part is keeping it like this and getting it all the way down the bottom. You got to get it past the AC lines. You got to get it past the coolant lines. And you got to sit it in place. But you can see it. You can see it right there. You got to sit it in place without moving it. So you got to be very gentle. You just gonna have to kind of memorize the area with your hand, because you're not gonna be able to see down there, and get it in place without moving that lock. Because if you move it, it's not gonna go on. Maybe if you got, like, I don't know, super smart hands, but it's not gonna go. You're not gonna have no room to get in there with both of your hands or one of your hands to move around to push that lock up on there. And another thing is you have to press it like super far to the right. So going to this way of the motor, so that's the right. So you got to press it super far to the right in order for it to lock. Once you get it set in place, you would think it's already on there, but just feel a little bit towards the right hand side and you will feel like a locking ring down there, or just say an indentation, right? You will feel it and then just press on it so you can lock it. So you got to press like super far to the right and then you'll get it on there. So once you got it on there, you just come up to the top and do these, which is super easy. One right here, yellow one right here. Lock that in place and then do the main component down here. Alright, so set it in place, just line it up right here. And once you get it met right there, just press all the way on it and just clamp it in. You will hear it clamp, that's how you will know it's in place. And then take the connector on this side. And then there you go, you'll hear it. And it actually sits right here. So you see this bar? Come on, focus. It actually sits right on there, so it can be stable. So you're good to go. Once you got that on, just double check the lines, make sure everything is in place. Double check the connectors so you can pull on them just to make sure they secure on all of them. Even the ones down here, pull on them to make sure they're good. If they don't come apart, you are good. So now we just got to put everything back in place. The ducting system right here. All right, so once you got that back in place, just go ahead and take your flathead. Don't forget to put the screw back in. All right, make sure these clamps right here are super tight, just because this is the air box and it's leading down to the turbo. So make sure this is tight because you don't want any air escaping from right there. So once you get that done, just make sure everything is in place, which it is. Then you can put your cover back on. And it goes right here on these pieces. So on the back end, 1, 2, 3, 4, and they sit in here. So you just line it up. Make sure you just press down on it, lock it in place. So here's the code right here. As you can see, it's throwing 3 codes, but it's all for the same thing. So if you got this scan tool, you can go ahead and erase the code. See, it's clear right there. And then back out of it. If you don't have one, don't worry about it. It'll just do it by itself on the drive cycle. Then you can cut it on and it should be good. Good. So once you leave it running, just come down here, just double check everything. There you go, you officially completed your job and it's all set. No more codes for the canister. Oh, and for the V6, the people who got the V6, it's actually right here. So it's the same area, just up right here in this area. So if you have a V6, you don't even have to take none of this apart. It's literally right here. For the 4-cylinder, you got to do everything we just did in the video.